Monday, the 8th of Tuesday, the 8th of April. Like I put up there, should Peter Ipatas be our Prime Minister? And this question is asked because last year, if you remember, if we can remember correctly, like I played in one of my earlier videos on our People's Anti-Corruption Movement page, when Dr. Lino had resigned from James Marape's cabinet, Peter Ipatas and members of the People's Party had crossed the floor in support of James Marape as Prime Minister. And in his own words, he described Marape as his best choice. That's only a couple of months back. What was in store for him was 60 million kina in tax grants. That was too good an offer to disregard. So he defied young Dr. Tom Lino, whom this country, the Enga province and the country regard as a man with integrity, and opted for a piece of the cake. And he also, in doing so, he also divided another son of Enga in the name of, in the likes of Rainbow Paita, who was put up by the opposition as a no-choice candidate for Prime Minister. So you had another, the member for Finchaven is originally from Engen, he's an Engen. And now you have got a successor again for the alternative position in the Grand Chief, or Sir Peter Ipatas. Now we hold a lot of respect for Peter Ipatas as governor of the Enga province, where he's achieved so much in his long political career. And he's almost the father, he is the father of Enga. He's the father of modern Enga after reputable people such as Sir Peter Abal, who was a pioneer leader and a man who was supposed to be Prime Minister before independence and after independence, only to be divided honor by a coalition of young rookies in the likes of Sir Michael Thomas Sumare, Ebiole Wale, Julius Chen, Yambaki Oku, and many of those in those days when they thought that this was a time for them to take control of the country and were not going to side up with Sir Teabol, who wanted independence to come gradually and not quickly. But that is history now. Sir Abal was at the forefront and we acknowledged it. And Enga province through the times has produced top quality leaders, men who held their status in Enga politics, in the regional politics, and at the national politics. Many of them, like Don Pollier. Don Pollier was primed to be Prime Minister as deputy leader of the National Alliance Party when Sumare came into power. And for some unknown reason, Sumare overlooked him and went for his other Engan brother, Sam Abel, to be acting Prime Minister when Sumare was having bed rest in Singapore, recovering from his illnesses. And again, here is people from members of parliament from Enga who consistently run for the prime ministership, including John Pundari, who was a candidate for the prime minister until the last minute when he decided to step down and allow McCarry to take the reins as prime minister. So it's no surprise that the ball is kept within the region, from one Southern Islander to Helaman, and then they're kicking the ball between themselves, and that's all good. But look at what they've achieved as compared to their insatiable or their hunger for power. I always say that the the Somare legacy. The Somare legacy is a failed legacy, a legacy that was not grounded on law. In Somare's time as Prime Minister, Chief Minister and Prime Minister, he was never hard on the rule of law. He was the longest surviving member of the PNG Parliament and the Commonwealth on record, having served more than 45 years of his life as a member of Parliament. And 17 years as Prime Minister of Papua New Guinea. And when you look back in hindsight, what has he really achieved? Let's not talk about the big things. Let's talk about the economy. He came out very well. We went through, from independence, we had the plantation acquisition scheme, the straight passing stores. It was a great concept. Everything was in play. But he had not held on to that. There are some critical areas that he overlooked, and that was the rule of law. He resorted to cronyism, one-talk system. And soon one-talk system became a problem because if your one-talks did wrong, you could never correct them. So if you look back at Somare's legacy, if you look back at the Somare legacy, it's a legacy of you scratch my back, I scratch your back. And Somare brought out proteges like Sir Julius Chen. Sir Julius Chen, Pius Wingti, they all came out of Somare. Much later, you had Rabbi Namalu, you had Mekere Morauta, and with Mekere Morauta, you had Bill Skate, then you had Mekere Morauta. And after Mekere Morauta, you had Peter O'Neill. And after Peter O'Neill, you had Marape. These were all proteges of Somare. One common denominator about them was to misuse and help themselves to public funds without accounting for it. And that's stuck to this country. And that is the very reason, that is the very cause of the country's collapse. Let me point out the popular National Agriculture Development Program, NADP. NADP was a well thought out plan to increase production and make Papua New Guinea become the richest country on this planet, Earth, due to our rich agricultural land. Somare went up ahead to approve the plan or the agricultural program, and with it went almost $1 billion kina in budget. From the $1 billion kina in that budget, and most of the beneficiaries are still surviving as politicians now as I speak. 1 billion kina was spent on fictitious agricultural projects, and not one impact project stands to this day as testament to that program, the National Agricultural Development Program. And I think last year, Marape launched a similar one. And yesterday he was in Ley talking about agriculture. Now, Marape, you got to be honest. I think you were one of the beneficiaries of the NADP in your early days. So, of that 1 billion, all that money was given to politicians to contain Somare in office. And so after the NADP program, every politician like Peter O'Neill, Marape, and everybody that came had a scheme to his name to sustain members on the floor of Parliament. Now, O'Neill had his own scheme. What was O'Neill's scheme? The District Development Authority. Well, it was a very smart one, wasn't it? It was even unconstitutional. It defied the law. It defied the Public Finances Management Act because they had a form called the form number 11, which only the member of parliament could sign to approve any funding whatsoever. That's not been fixed yet. So, what I'm trying to say here to the people of Papua New Guinea is that the parliament was orchestrated and intricately designed to become a den of thieves. And it is a den of thieves as I speak. So what did Marape come up with? Marape concocted a brilliant scheme called the Connect PNG program. And he himself was the single biggest beneficiary of that scheme. How did he become the biggest beneficiary? You look at a company called VoNC Construction Limited. VoNC Construction Limited got the biggest slice of the cake from it was futuristic. It was given 3.5 billion kina worth of contracts for the entire scheme. Maybe Marape survives again, that would double or treble. But what did they build? What are the super highways that VoNC Construction built? Nothing. Some road maintenance in the upper highlands between Southern Highlands, Hela and Enga. And that's all. But last year, from February 2023 to April 2024, if the Department of Works records that were leaked out are factual, VoNC collected a cool 750 million kina. And Marape had almost 1 billion of slush funds to throw around. So it's no big deal. See a lot of people on the social media, talking about Highlanders and coastals and all that blah, blah, blah bullshit. Get to the facts. Somara used the NADP to stay in power. O'Neill bettered it by using the District Development Authority Act, giving each member a discretion of 10 million kina to play around with. And now, Marape became much smarter. He's giving out millions, I mean millions, literally millions. Fio Kinoka, who was a beneficiary of the Connect PNG program before he became a member of parliament. He was ultra rich, right? But today, last month or last week or 2 weeks ago, the Governor General signed a contract of more than 240 million kina for road works in the Eastern Highlands. Maybe at first after he's been beneficiary in the Hela and Southern Highlands roads. Now, if you look at the Connect PNG program, you have a lot of prominent companies from within the Upper Highlands. They're taking contracts all over the country. They're in Buka. They're in Morobe. And these are people who are related to either O'Neill or related to Marape. So how do we escape the clutches of people like Peter O'Neill and James Marape? They've got the system all hooked up. So do you think that Peter Ipatas is a serious contender for the position of Prime Minister? I doubt so. I doubt so. He is just an implant. The status quo won't change unless in the next 7 days, the members of parliament go to church or fix their conscience and confess that they have received bribes from all sides. Some who have been around have received bribes from Peter O'Neill. And the current ones have received a lot of bribes from Marape and his contacts. So it's not a house of integrity. It's not a government of integrity. It's a government of thieves. And that's as simple as that. So what do you think they're going to do next week, Tuesday? Nothing different. Peter Ipatas has made a very shallow statement. saying that I'll give it a go. No, Governor Ipatas, you have been you've been a politician for 30 years. What are your national policies for People's Party? Apart from free education and free healthcare and all that. We have not taken back the economy. I'm talking to you as the president and president of the People's Anti-Corruption Movement and front runner in restoring indigenous land rights. In 2009, I was in trying to consult Pogera landowners. When my other delegation slept in Quebec town, I chose to sleep at the Iralia men's house with bed bugs and all the rest of it, light the fire, burn the cocoa, because I wanted to understand what your vision was for the country. You have driven anger. Now, what are you going to tell Papua leaders to convince them that on Tuesday they should choose you as the Prime Minister and not James Marape? Because they're all in James Marape's pocket. I doubt if you have more than 30 of these people, the same people that put up Nomingo Kua for a month, pulled him down, put up Alan Bet in the next month, pulled him down, and then they hired this young little fellow from Finchapen, pulled him down, and now in desperation, they put you up. You don't convince the country. Not at all. What are you going to promise to the people of this country? Tell us tomorrow. The vote's going to take place on Tuesday. Governor, my lines are open. 75895389. I'm on Facebook. I'm on WhatsApp. I am asking you, Governor Ipatas, to come forward. We'll have a two-man talk, and you will pour out your vision to the country. If you got no vision for the country, withdraw your name on the 11th hour, allow Marape to continue. We will apply the law on parliamentarians who think that they can have it their way. This country is sick and tired of political opportunists and yo-yos. You are there one day, you are over here the next day. Let's go to stop. You are a very senior politician. You want to come out with your own script. You tell us your platform. The country is waiting to receive your platform. How are you going to tackle the law and order situation? You got to start in anger first. Marape is going to start in Taripori and Hela first. That part of the world has consumed all the money on law and order. You two can't even fix it. You two are not in the front. You are running around in Waigan trying to tell the world that you can save this country. What a shame. You two better get real. Just to let you know, I've done what I have to do. As a leader of the people, in filing a criminal complaint against the Prime Minister, Honorable James Marape, last Tuesday, on the 3rd of April, at the Assistant Commissioner Crimes Division at the auditor's office to investigate, process Honorable James Marape and all the members who solicited bribes to support James Marape to stay on as Prime Minister. And first and foremost, I put down as case number 1, Governor Sir Peter Ipatas accepting 60 million kina from the Prime Minister from tax funds, which was disputed by your colleague governor from Gulf, Honorable Chris Aveda. And that has been blocked by the courts, and the courts had made it null and void because there was no appropriation under the 2024 budget for government of Papua New Guinea budget. It remains as an inducement for you and your members to cross over and support Marape. Secondly, I have also referred your colleague, your colleague governor, Honorable Luther Wenge, who earlier challenged Marape. It was just a maneuver to get Marape's attention, and he had accepted an offer of 50 million or 100 million in IDG grants, the books will reveal. Now, I have also cited him as soliciting a bribe, and cited Marape as giving him a bribe. And case number 3 goes to the city's governor, Honorable Poes Paco. He rallied his numbers, making a lot of noise that he could be a candidate for the prime ministership. And James Marape pulled a fast one on him, sent the Ombudsman Commission to do an audit on 45 million kina that he gave as a contract to his girlfriend or mistress, Fazila Bazari. And when the Ombudsman came back, he was lost. He went back to Marape and said, well, I'll give you the support if you give me more money. So Marape allocated another 30 million kina for this hospital project in Geru, which I believe was paid to a company named Asia Pacific PNG Limited. I am not surprised he was a business partner of all the former Prime Minister, current Prime Minister, and the Governor of NCD, because he has done a lot of deals with all of you in office. We are monitoring you. Now, this is a blunder. It's a case of misappropriation, stealing of public finances. There was no procurement process for design or whatever of the hospital. A big hospital that would cost about 800 million kina. But the monies were paid under the table to this little known company. And not only that, Marape's cabinet, the NEC had given him a huge portion of land. They had directed the lands board to give him a huge portion of land. And the governor, Poes Paco, to go with the direction to the